Good morning, family. Not sure what time it is in your part of the world, but it's morning here. It is exactly 7:25 a.m. So it's early. And at any rate, I wanted to I just felt pressed to offer you guys some things today rather than hop on live. I just wanted to record a video and talk to you guys, address the whole body all over the world. I've been putting a lot of stuff in the community tab. I haven't seen a lot of activity there, so I might back off that some. Doesn't seem to be much of interest, and that's okay because I understand where everybody's at. I was talking with one of the brethren here yesterday who was talking to me about being physically exhausted and to the point of really only being able to stay up a couple hours. I mean, this person works, of course, but what I mean is, on the off time, only being able to stay up an hour or two and then have to fall asleep, even on days off, doesn't have any energy to do anything. And I had mentioned on the other video that I had made about where I'm seeing people, I'm speaking to the body, who are so weary to the point they're in despair. And I get that. We're in a time right now where the body is not only being tried, but it's also being attacked at the same time. And the cares of life are ramping up, and everything seems like it's just sped up. Like everything is moving so quickly in the natural that it seems like it's hard for all of us to keep up with it. This is why Yeshua says pull out. Especially in these days, because time is actually accelerated also. And we're in this time too where we're living in the spiritual and the natural at the same time too. And it's difficult, takes a lot of physical energy to try to be able to walk in both, which is why we need to pull out. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't take care of our responsibilities, but we really need to have our focus more on Yeshua. So I asked the Ruach, what points should I address with you guys on this video? And, to be able to be effective today in offering some encouragement, because we need to encourage each other. We need to encourage ourselves in the Father. Okay. So, the first point that the Ruach wanted me to address is being tired. Just being tired. And that, we're sensing the weight of the times, which is leading us to have the body as a whole, certain members, to have anxiety, and which leads to sleep disruption. Father's waking a lot of us up. Father's waking a lot of us up during the night, weird hours, just to sit quietly with him. And I believe that he's doing that to strengthen us, give give to us of himself, which also affects us physically, because the body needs a certain amount of sleep, on and so forth. But we just need to follow his lead on that. Another thing is that we need to work on our emotions about things, because the things that are coming are going to be a lot worse than what we're seeing now. People are sick and tired of this world. They just don't want to be here, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I already addressed that point in the other video. But being sick and tired of the world is that's a very human emotion. Our human emotions will get in the way of the things of the spirit. So we must learn to get those under control. Okay? And those are areas of the soul. Remember, I've taught you guys about the soul. It's the mind, the will, the emotions. Command that to have the mind of Christ, the heart of Christ. Okay? Because we really, really got to. Another point, too, is in weariness, it's the absence of the joy of Father's salvation. And we need to recapture that. So we need to go to prayer for Father to grant us that, to give us a fresh touch there. Because that oil of joy, it repels the spirit of heaviness. Okay? And I know I sound like a broken record on that, but if we just look around at all the yucky stuff that's going on and the bad things that are happening and all these things, it will steal our joy. And we can't do that. The joy of the Lord is our strength, remember? We even sing songs about that. Okay, so the next point is the Ruach wanted me to remind everybody that the things that we are seeing are prophecy being fulfilled. Okay? You know, everybody wants to escape everything, but unfortunately, we're not going to escape everything. In the Get in the Ark series, I think it is, Father had me teach about, or is it Father's Time of Provision? I can't even remember. It's been a while since I made those. But in one of those, I speak about what Father revealed to me about the Israelites, the children of Israel, being in the land of Goshen when all things were happening to Egypt. They were tucked away in Goshen. Okay. Provision was made for them there. All they had to do was obey Father. Okay. And they didn't, those things happened around them, but it didn't affect them. Okay. So their focus was on Father. Another thing so try to remember that. Okay. Even though things are happening around us, if we stay in obedience and we stay in real tight communication with Father, that, you know, everything can blow up around us, judgments can happen, but we're going to be protected. Okay, so try to grab onto that, defeat that anxiety and fear and dread and all these things. Another thing too that the Ruach wanted to have me to remind you guys is that, you know, the scripture even talks about that the adversary and his camp work to wear out the saints. Well, what's happening right now? People are getting worn out, okay? And if we try to walk through that on our own strength and our own fortitude, it is gonna wear us down to a nub, okay? So remember, Yeshua says, you know, I am with you. I will never leave you or forsake you. So he's right here with us in all this. And in these times coming that are going to be so much worse. You guys, you got to remember, you know, we ain't seen nothing yet. Okay? But Yeshua is with us. He's not going to abandon us. He's carrying us. Okay? And see, you have to understand that. He's carrying us. And as far as the catching away or the rapture, everybody's in a hurry. They're like, what's taking so long? Why isn't he here yet? You know, da da da. Don't be impatient. The prophecies, the things that are talked about, must happen first. We cannot, no matter how much we would like to, we cannot jump ahead in that. We can't say, well, I don't want it to be that way, so I'm just going to sit here and get impatient and pout around and all that. You guys, timing of Father is timing of Father. We don't have any control over that. It is what it is, and you can't change what is. We have to be in acceptance. We have to humble ourselves and be like, okay, Father, even if you lead me through the fiery furnace, I know you're with me there, and I will follow you. Follow the Lamb wherever he goes, okay? And try to understand that. We have to be surrendered that much, all right? Another thing that he wanted me to bring up is that, especially in these times, we need to strengthen our prayer life. That is being hammered on by the adversary's camp real hard right now, where people don't even really feel like praying. They're just like, you know, and I get that. I understand that. I've been going through that too. And you guys know that I'm a prayer warrior, right? So when that comes under attack with me, then I know that it's fierce. But we got to try to strengthen that, because that is where we go. We sit at Yeshua's feet, you know, and I'm preaching to myself on this. You know, we get fed the manna from heaven, we get fed the river of living water when we're there. And that is what will refresh us. That will give us the strength. That will give us the recharge on our batteries, if you will. We must do that. It isn't a matter of finding time. We're going to have to carve out time. We're going to have to demand our flesh. No, flesh, you will sit here. We are going to talk to him, because he's the only one. He's all there is. He's the only place we can go. He's the only place where the answers are, the strength, the nourishment, every single thing we need is there. So we got to work on that. And I'm trying to work on figuring out how to work in more prayer times on the channel too, because I know that some people prefer to pray with a group versus pray with themselves or pray by themselves. So you'll have to let me know in the comments what you think about that. You know, we have established now the Sabbath meetings on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Arizona time. But the prayer times, okay, I'm still not sure what to do with that, and I want some input from you guys. Um, how many times a week do you want to do that? Or do we want to do that every evening, like Daniel and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did every evening? Like the first church, okay? They came together every evening at the start of the next day praying, okay? So you need to let me know what you'd like to do on that. I know life is busy, but we're going to have to make time, okay? And strengthen and gather together, strengthen one another, okay? All right. Another thing that the Ruach wanted me to remind you guys is we're going to have to get immersed in the Word. Okay, so here we go again, right? When we're tired, you know, we're having a hard time staying awake, or we have a spirit of heaviness on us, and we just don't have the oomph to sit and read. Well, you know, that is by design. We got to remember that, you know, but that word is food for our spirit man. We're going to have to feed ourselves with that, because it's the word that makes new sinew on our bones, and it changes us from the inside out, changes our mind, changes our heart, okay? Gives us strength, and it gives us that rock solid bedrock foundation to stand on, okay? So we need to do that. And then last but not least, he asked me to share the story that happened in Gaza, which was recently, you know, when things started off in October 2023 over there on the 7th, there were people there who were Muslim believers. Okay, they followed after Islam, but they were so frightened and so scared of how things were going that all of a sudden they were held up in this room of a house somewhere. All of a sudden this man came in and told them to gather their things, and he was physically helping them gather their things. He says, I'm going to take you to someplace safe. I believe that's what was said. Don't quote me on that. It's been a while since I heard the story. So the women and the children that were there, they followed this man, okay? And they walked for like 3 hours following this man, and they got to a place where there was food, there was water, there was fresh things that they needed there. And this man gave them a paper. And on that paper, it said John 3:16. Okay? So I'm not sure how it worked out, but they ran into like this missionary or this evangelist over there in this place where they were led to be safe. And the lady that had that paper, because they uh, followed Islam, so they didn't know what John 3:16 meant. So the missionary person or the evangelist person told them what it was, and they realized that it was Yeshua that came to them, led them to a safe place, Everything they needed was provided, and led them to himself. And they all accepted Yeshua, and now they're Christian folks. So that reminder of that story is to tell us that no matter what happens, no matter what occurs around us, the times to come, the lack that there's going to be, okay, famine and whatever, that Yeshua is going to lead people to a place of safety and provision. And I've preached this for years, okay? But he wanted me to remind you guys of this because you guys need encouragement. We all need encouragement right now, okay? People are getting sick, physically sick. People are emotionally sick. People are spiritually sick right now, okay? Everybody's getting worn out. So we just got to remember the goodness of our Savior, you guys. His eye is on us. He knows we're tired. He knows these things. And he's well acquainted with what it means to be tired. When he was here, like, he was so tired he fell asleep in the back of a boat and slept through a storm, right? The disciples had to wake him up. So, don't you care that we're going to sink and drown here, right? And that's that time he stood up and spoke to the winds, peace be still. So you guys remember these things. Do not keep your focus on the cares of this life. Don't let that consume you. Keep your eyes on the shepherd, okay? And if you do these things, if we do these things and gather together and edify one another, it'll be okay. We'll find that strength. Phew, pardon me. We'll find the wherewithal that we need to be able to get through these times. Okay, so just understand that he knows everything we're going through. He feels it all because he's in us. He feels what we're feeling. And he knows that certain of us are just really, really scared, not knowing. Yesterday, I even got into a place of that too, because of knowing that things have started. The ark isn't ready, the refuge isn't ready, nothing is ready yet. And I'm like, Father, what do we do? And the first thing that came to me was to just immerse myself in prayer and seek his face, and that he will tell me everything that I need to know. And isn't it true how he does that? So I had to put down my own feelings. So see, I'm not immune to that. I've told you guys before, there's no difference between you and I. Just that I have to do my walk with a responsibility on my shoulders. But I go through the same things. Okay? And any transparent person in leadership or ministry, they'll tell you, yeah, I know how you feel. I struggle too sometimes. Or, maybe they'll say, if they're really, really transparent, I'm really struggling right now. Will you pray for me? Because we're supposed to pray for our leadership too, right? So be encouraged, you guys. I know it seems bleak. I know that we're being worn out, okay? But be encouraged. The shepherd knows, and he will help us. He reaches his hand out to us. All we got to do is reach for him. And he'll be like, I gotcha. I gotcha. I gotcha. You know? So, anyways, peace and love be upon you guys, okay? And the blessings of Abba and his hand be upon you and protect you and guide you and immerse you in the immensity of his love in Yeshua's name. Okay, so that's it for today or for this time, okay? Till next time. Bye-bye.